Am I the asshole for going home after my husband left me alone at his mom's house? I, F28M wheelchair user. Have been in a wheelchair since 2019. I had learned to do most things on my own, but transportation falls solely on my husband, M34. Meaning he's the one who takes me place, say the mall or pharmacy. Lately, he's been leaving me at my MIL's place and disappearing for hours. His mom's really sweet and makes feel comfortable, but I just don't like being away from home for a long time. He's late due to work or traffic. Sometimes he'd turn his phone off and be unavailable. Sometimes he'd only respond when his mom calls. Few days ago he told me he wanted to go to friend's engagement dinner party. I said I wanted to go with him, but he said it'd be better if I stayed with his mom till he get back. I said I'd rather stay home, but he got mad at me and said he'd take me with him. He stopped by his mom's house and dropped me there. I asked him why we were at his mom's house and not his friend's party. He said he had an hour before the event and had to get some work done urgently, and he'd come back for me and we'd go together to the party. He left and I stayed inside with his mom. We talked and she brought me coffee and sweets. An hour went by and I started calling him. He didn't respond at first but then turned his phone off later. I felt so mad I kept calling despite knowing his phone was off. I asked his mom to try calling him and it was still turned off. I waited 3 hours and I just knew he lied about taking me to the party. I called my sister to take me home, but Mill insisted I stay with her because he told her to not let me go anywhere unless he returned. I ended up going home and my sister stayed with me for the night because he was still unreachable. He returned the next day looking upset, saying I shouldn't have left his mom's house and gone anywhere without waiting for him. I asked him where he was and he admitted to lying about taking me to the party, saying it would have been boring and uncomfortable for me and thought I'd enjoy staying with his mom and looking at her new plants instead. He then explained that he got drunk and had to sleep at a friend's place and left his phone off. We had the biggest argument about it and I told him that what he did was unacceptable, but he said I overreacted because it wasn't like he ditched me at some public place, and said that by leaving I hurt both his and his mom's feelings. I said I won't argue about this anymore, but he said that I acted childishly, throwing a fit over not attending some 3 hours event that he himself thought was trashy and classless. Edit, his friend confirmed that he was there. This is 100% abuse. He is taking advantage of your condition and abandoning you because he knows you are physically unable to stop him. He is sick and this is disgusting. I think you need to treat this as a real wake-up call. It blows my mind that he is gaslighting you and blaming you for it. Honey, this is like a code red warning. I need you to see how messed up this is. No one deserves to be lied to and abandoned like this. Not the asshole, but I would have been considering divorce the moment my husband ever treated me this way. Not the asshole. Your husband is lying to you. What, specifically, he is hiding is debatable, but he has empowered his mom as a co-conspirator, even if she is not aware of the details, in his scheme. He is using your wheelchair-bound mobility as a way to do other things with you. I'm so sorry you are in this situation. But you are absolutely not the asshole. Your husband is gaslighting you on a major level. Not the asshole. Why are you staying with your husband at this point? He's ditching you at his mom's repeatedly to go off and do whatever. He doesn't seem to care about your wants. How on earth were his feelings hurt by you leaving his mom's house? It sounds like he's up to something and is trying to keep you out of his way. Time for divorce. He is cheating. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I called my sister to take me home, but Mill insisted I stay with her because he told her to not let me go anywhere unless he returned. Was he always this controlling about where you could go, or did this controlling behavior start only after you became wheelchair-bound? I don't like his behavior. He's controlling, dishonest, and manipulative. He's treating you like an invalid because you are in a wheelchair. If he can't treat you like a normal wife and partner, do you really want to be in a relationship with him? Also, I hate to speculate, but I would wonder if he was out with another woman, because why couldn't he answer his phone at all during the night, even if he was drinking? Not the asshole. He is cheating on you and having his mother babysitting you while he cheats so you won't catch him. Am I the asshole for telling my mom and her husband that I can't wait to turn 18 to leave their house? When I, 16M, was 5, my mom, 34F, had an affair and left me and my dad, 35M, for a wealthier man. For 2 years, I only saw my mom like 4 or 5 times, I can't even remember, but not more than that. Then she disappeared and didn't contact us again. I even thought that she was dead. I think my dad thought it was too much responsibility for him or was angry at my mom. and somehow wanted to take everything that reminded him of her away, so he sent me to live with my maternal aunt, and I only saw him like 2 or 3 times a month, for half an hour. Unfortunately, my aunt died of cancer last year. I thought my dad would take me in, but he's busy with his new family, wife and kids. My grandma, Dad's mother, wanted to take me, but then my egg donor came out of the blue to take me. When she came to take me, it was the first time I saw her in 9 years, and it felt weird, and it sucked that she hugged me and kissed me as if nothing happened in those 9 years. She married the man she left us for, and they now have 3 kids, 10M, 8F, 7F. I've been living with them for 6 months now, and I spend most of the time in my room, since we are in another city 6 hours away and I have no friends here. We rarely speak. She tries to talk to me, but I ignore her and her husband. They try to include me in activities, but it sucks seeing them play the perfect family when I missed everything as a child, so I don't really like them. Her husband tries to make me call him Dad. He tries to spend time with me and talk to me. He knows I love tennis, so he learned about it and has listed me in tennis lessons and wants to talk about it all the time he sees me. He even wants to take me to some matches. He introduces me as his son, and I hate it since all I see is the guy that stole my mom from me when I needed her the most. It happened yesterday. He asked me to go with him to the grocery store, and then he met a friend of his, and as his friend hasn't seen me in any family photo, he asked about me, and then my mom's husband said, "He is my firstborn, you didn't know about him because he was living with a sister of my wife's." I didn't make a scene there, but when we got out, I told him to never say he is my father, he is just a home wrecker who stole my mom. We got home and he told my mom, then my mom, almost crying, said, "You hate us that much, don't you?" So I said, "Of course, you left me and now you want to act like nothing happened by playing the happy family. To be honest, I can't wait to turn 18 and leave, and I'm not sure if I ever want to see you again." She started crying and her husband comforted her, so I just went to my room. They tried to talk to me, but I've just ignored them. I told a friend of mine about this and he says I'm not the asshole. You've been abandoned by both your parents. Yes, your dad too. You're allowed to be angry about it. Not the asshole, because honestly, what teenager hasn't said this at least once? Your mom should know better than to inflate the drama here. She's feeding on it, which is a pretty big bad parenting flag. Not the asshole at all. This is so f-upped. If they really want to make amends and have a relationship with you, they should first apologize and admit that your mom completely abandoned you. She can't just come in 9 years later and expect everything to go back to normal. And the guy calling you his son is insane. You don't know him. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry for the life you've had. It's hard being a teenager under any circumstances, but you've been dealt a bad hand, and your feelings are valid. Is there any chance you could still live with your grandmother? Your mother and her husband are trying to make up for the wrongs she has done, but if they care, they might let you live with your grandmother if it would make you happier. If that isn't possible, see if you can get into therapy. It won't change your situation, but it will help you cope with it. Good luck, and I hope things work out. Info. If he's referring to you as his son, and your dad somehow doesn't want anything to do with you, what are the chances you are his son? I could imagine you wouldn't have been told this at your age, but it makes the questionable decisions these adults made a little more understandable. Your dad just leaving, your stepdad calling you his, etc. Not the asshole. I have to say you show an amazing amount of restraint when he calls himself your dad in public. I would have shut that down immediately and made a scene. I'm sorry you have had to go through all that. I really hope things get better for you. Am I the asshole for stopping the funds? 8 years ago my wife left me after cheating was discovered. Despite having 50-50 custody of our children, F21, M19, they wanted to live with my ex, so I was okay with it as long as I could see them. I worked more and got a better income and covered all their extra expenses even after the youngest turned 18. I even paid towards the college funds by myself despite it being court-ordered that both would pay equally towards it. In addition to paying tuition, I paid any other expenses, car, expensive clothing, electronics, holidays, etc. Even tough after a while my daughter went almost no contact. She sends me texts with amount and where to send it and I send the money. 2 weeks ago my son turned up on my doorstep after I hadn't heard from him in 2 months. He told me that my daughter dropped out of college after a few months and that I have been funding their mother's and her new children's lifestyle all these years as her affair partner left her after their 3rd child. My daughter has been using me as has my son to help their mother and their own lifestyle. Upon finding this out I stopped the money train. Turns out neither my ex nor my daughter work and they have used my cash to fund their lifestyle. Now they can get evicted if I don't continue to pay. I am not cutting out my son as he came clean. Am I the asshole for stopping the funds on my daughter and not my son? Edit. Since a lot of people have asked to clarify the cheating part. During the holidays our children were at her parents'. I came home from work to pick up some papers I had forgotten for a presentation and I discovered her on the kitchen floor in a very flexible position. She was not alone. Not the asshole though, I'd be keeping a close eye on the son to make sure he isn't playing both ends against the middle. Not the asshole. Your ex and daughter need to go out and find jobs if they wish to support their own lifestyles. If you want to continue giving money to just your son, that's entirely your choice, it's your money. However, I worry that your ex or daughter will badger him for the money you do give him. Not the asshole. Your son came clean even though he was taking the risk of losing the easy money. If he's still giving the money to his mother and sister, I would cut him off too. If he's not, then it's up to you to wean him off at some point. He needs to be working on a plan for college or vocational skills for his future because I shudder to think of what life lessons his mother has taught him. Not the asshole. Your ex is awful and you owe her nothing. Your daughter needs to learn how to support herself. Not the asshole. Did you say you have a new wife? Worry about her, not the moochers. I'm just here for cheating was discovered. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my daughter graduation ceremony? I, 40SF. Have a daughter, 18F. Who I'll call B. When she was younger, her father broke up before she was born, was very involved in her life and she was admittedly a dad's girl. But this all changed when she turned 8 and he got married. He barely called and just abandoned her for his new family. This was obviously hard on her and she rebelled a lot. But she went to therapy and seemed good. B has not seen him since she was 12 and he speaks to her maybe 3 times a year maximum. When he calls, she believes he is now back in her life for good, then he ghosts her for the remainder of the year. This being said, B and I have a great relationship, we do everything together. She even refers to me as her best friend, so I'd say we have a good relationship. Recently was her graduation and I was excited. But then she came to me a week before and told me she is going to invite her dad and his son. And 'cause her dad doesn't want to see me, I can't come. B told me that was the only way he was gonna go. I angrily told her, I felt betrayed and want forgive her for this. She just told me I have been there for many of her milestones and she wants her father to experience some too. Things got heated and we argued. The night before her graduation, I pleaded with her but she ignored me when I spoke. And only said, I'm sorry but I'm not changing my mind. I left and cried until my sister offered to take me out during the graduation to take my mind of it and I agreed. I woke up the next morning to my daughter bawling her eyes out. I looked at the time and realized the ceremony starts in 5 minutes. I asked B why she hasn't left yet. B then tells me her father ditched her and isn't answering anymore. I hug her and tell her to make the most of her graduation. She looked shocked and asks if I'm not going to the ceremony now her father isn't anymore. And how it'll be embarrassing to be the only one there without parents. I told I'm sorry that I already had plans. She then screamed and called me a bad mom. I apologize once again and got ready to meet my sister. I chose not to go because I felt betrayed and wanted to teach her actions have consequences, even if it broke me that I didn't go. Since B returned she hasn't spoken a word to me. And she looks depressed and like she's been crying for ages. I'm starting to regret not going. My sister says I did the right thing, but one of the moms at my daughter's school said she was depressed at graduation and now I feel bad that I ruined what was supposed to be a day to remember because I wanted to teach my daughter a lesson. So AITA? Update. Not the asshole. You gave her an important lesson about maintaining relationships with the people who are there for you and not blowing them off for the next new thing that comes along. The real asshole here is the father. He forced his daughter's hand by giving her an ultimatum. He used his daughter to hurt his ex and then took off. The daughter is technically an adult, but she's still his child. Not the asshole. She is old enough. She is not 5, she's 18. She took you for granted. Even after her father ditched her, she didn't invite you. She just expected you to fill in the spot as the second-class parent you are. Yes, she is young. Yes, she is your daughter. But she needs to learn that love and respect are two-way streets. She can't stomp all over your feelings on the off chance daddy will love her again. You're people, not just a mother with no feelings expected to always accommodate your child. Kids can be assholes too. They don't automatically get a pass. I'm sorry. I want to be on everybody's side here, but I can't. She must have broken your heart. And I do get that you're the adult and should rise above it, but geez, what she did was hardcore. You're not the asshole, but yikes, this one just sucks. Yo. That father has a lot to answer for as he blithely continues his life. I might get bashed for this, but I'll say not the asshole. She's an adult, she made her choice, she has to live with the consequences. Some lessons aren't learned otherwise. Her dad, for obvious reasons. Her for allowing such an ultimatum be made. You for the lack of understanding how desperately your daughter wants her father's love. She may be old enough to understand, like some other commenters have explained, but that doesn't mean her thoughts, emotions, and decisions will always be rational. Lest some of us forget our dumb teen choices. I suggest sitting down and hashing out the hurt together.